Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It is Brittany Jade and I am coming at you today with another pregnancy update, and I am super excited because as of last Thursday, I switch over weeks every Thursday. I was 13 weeks pregnant, and by the time you guys see this, I will be close to 14 weeks pregnant. So I wanted to give you a brief overview of week 12 and of week 13 and what I'm experiencing so far, even though I'm about halfway through the week. So if you're interested in hearing about my pregnancy update, along with my top 5 questions to ask if you're interested in hiring a doula, then please keep on watching this video. If you are new to this channel, hi, welcome to the family. My name is Brittany Jade. I am a mom of 2 babies, 2 kiddos. My oldest is 6 and my youngest is 2. I am recently married within the last 6 months, and I do a lot of mommy and day in the life content here on my channel. Lots of cooking recipes, clean with me's, decorating, home tours, and most recently a lot of pregnancy updates. So I hope that you guys enjoy this video. If you would, I would love it if you guys would consider subscribing. And for all of you that are subscribed, welcome back. Hey girl, hey. So glad to have you guys back and watching another video of mine. So today I wanted to not only dig into a little bit of my pregnancy update for weeks 12 and half of week 13, but I also wanted to give you guys some ideas of questions that you could potentially ask your future doula if that's something that you're interested in. I have decided to add a doula to my birth team just because, for one, I've decided to have a natural at-home birth this time around. This is my 3rd baby and my 3rd time, this will be my 3rd time giving birth. I know sometimes those numbers don't add up. It's my 3rd pregnancy, it's my 3rd time giving birth, and this time around I decided that I wanted to go a more holistic, natural route just because I am very aware of how both of my previous labors went, and because of the time, I feel very confident in knowing that I would be successful in having a natural labor. So I did decide to go with a birthing clinic and with a midwifery team who also has an MD as a backup provider, and I also did decide to add a doula to my birthing team to help better my, not my success rate, but just to help provide more support. Basically what a doula is actually a Greek word for a woman's servant. And basically what it is just that. It's support for the mother and the father as well, and the baby during labor, before you give birth, as well as after birth. And there's a variety of different types of doulas, and there's a variety of different services that they offer. So I thought that it would be really nice to go over some of the interview questions while you're interviewing different doulas of things that I thought were important to ask your doula if that's something you are considering hiring onto your team. So let's hop right on into the update really quickly. So in week 12 and so far this week in week 13, there hasn't really been that much of a difference between this week and my last pregnancy update. I have noticed that my appetite has increased a little bit, which has me slightly nervous just because, as you guys know, I did recently lose about 115 pounds, and gaining weight slowly but surely has been, it's been a journey to say the least. It's kind of been mentally taxing on me to see the number go up on my scale and see the size of my belly increase. And I know, like, I'm so blessed and so fortunate to be able to carry another life inside of me, and I know that it's all for the better good, and I'm creating this child, and I'm this safe haven for this baby to grow. But it is still like a mentally taxing thing to know that I've lost all this weight, I've accomplished all this, I've gotten rid of all of these old clothes, and now like my new clothes are starting to like get a little bit tight now. So that's just been something I've been very aware of, and I talk to my husband about it all the time, and he's like very reassuring that I'm not getting fat but that I'm just pregnant, and this is part of the process. And so I'm sure a lot of my moms out there can relate to this feeling, like just the slight anxiety that you feel when you start noticing that you're packing on a little bit of the pounds. And so that's kind of where I'm at with that, my appetite increasing. I know that I'm more hungry, and it's just going to be more on me to make sure that I'm making the right healthy choices. And that is something that I'm kind of struggling with, because my cravings are definitely like carbs and sweets and salty things, and I'm just loving all of the bad stuff right now. There's this burrito place in the next town over from where I live, and I had to have them like 3 days in a row, like just this huge burrito with like french fries and steak and cheese and sauce. I mean, it's insane, but and you know, I'm enjoying this experience. I'm trying to be mindful of what I'm eating and like eating with a purpose, just like I did while I was losing weight. And you know, I'm just trying to be very aware. Also, water intake is something that I'm needing to work on. I've noticed in this last week especially, it's been a lot harder for me to get my water in. And I know that water is so important while you're pregnant because it just helps to keep down the swelling. It helps keep your body hydrated. It just helps regulate everything. Baby needs the hydration. Your body needs the hydration. My skin needs the hydration, y'all. It is like snowing mad deep outside. It's been nuts. We've kind of been snowed in here in the greater Seattle area. This past week we've had the snowmageddon of 2019 and it's hit, and so like everything's really dry and cold and dreary, so I know water intake is very important. And besides that, I mean, really nothing has changed this week between last week. I did go and meet with my midwife yesterday. Today's Sunday. So I did go meet with my midwife on Friday, and we heard the little babe's heartbeat, and the heartbeat was 160 beats per minute, nice and strong. She found it right away, which was awesome. I did opt to take the NIPT test, the genetic testing, so they drew some blood for that. They took my blood pressure. The one thing that I really love about my birthing clinic is that they don't rush me at all. All of our appointments are an hour long, which I love because I get to just talk to my midwife team. I get to like find out about them. I get to ask them questions. I get to be open with them, and that's just something that I really, really appreciate this time around in comparison to giving birth in a hospital where you're like stuck in a 15-minute slot and it's like you're in and you're out and they don't really remember anything. Like, I feel like my midwife team, they know my history, they remembered my kids' names, which I thought was just like the bee's knees. So it's just been an awesome experience so far, and I'm so glad that I decided to go with them. And I will link where I'm actually giving birth below. I don't know if there's anybody on Whidbey Island who's watching these videos right now and interested in giving birth through them, but I will definitely link where I'm going below, and it is called the Green Bank Birthing Clinic, and we are deciding to do the home birth option, and I'm going to be renting a birthing tub, hopefully to set up right here in this lovely living room of mine. So anyways, that's all I have for the pregnancy update portion of this, and I do have my notes here because I did write down the top 5 questions that I have to interview a doula. I was supposed to interview my first doula option yesterday. Unfortunately, because like I said, we are snowed in, we did have to cancel that, so we're gonna reschedule, but I was prepared. So I have these questions here that I was already gonna ask her. So I will just show them to you guys. So in case you're interested, you can find out some questions that you might need to think about asking your doula if you're thinking about hiring them on. And so there's 5 questions here, and I'll start with number 5 and I'll work my way backwards. So number 5, the question that I wanted to ask is, why did you become a doula? And why do I think this is important for me? Because I want to know like why people decided to break into this industry. I mean, obviously, like, giving birth is very personal. It can be a very intimate experience between like a mother and a baby and a family. And I think that knowing why someone decided to break into this is a very important, and it just kind of gives me insight into why you do the things that you do. Like, are you passionate about it? Did you have like an experience yourself while you were giving birth and you had a birth doula there? So that's just something that I thought would be a really cool, like, icebreaker type question to get to know your doula and get a feel of what their birthing style might be, or why they decided to break into this doula birthing support business in the first place. So that is number 5. Number 4 is, what is your training? Are you certified? What was required to receive your certification? They're not like a medical doctor or anything like that. They're not a midwife, so they don't have any like medical certification, but there is actual doula certifications, and those can include a lot of different things. I also like to ask doulas like what other services that they offer, but I'll get into that in my next question. But a lot of times they can have like prenatal massage technique classes, or like certain lactation consulting classes, or different certifications through like a doula association that they have. And so I think it's just really important to know what type of training that they have. Alternately, if you're not really concerned about what kind of like official training your doulas had, is you can just ask, and this is what I would personally ask. I want to know, how many live births have you attended, and are you familiar with my particular midwife or birthing clinic? I think that when it comes to doulas, it's not like I'm really interviewing like an OB or a midwife that's going to actually be delivering my baby. I care more about how many births you have actually attended, if you've had like high success rates or like good reviews from your past clients, and if you have experience working with my specific midwife team. So the doula that I was going to interview yesterday that I'm going to reschedule, she had raving reviews when I mentioned her at my midwife appointment on Friday, which I thought was awesome. They've worked with her before, so I know that they like know her personally. They told me that they actually delivered one of her babies, which I thought was really awesome, because I think that if you have a midwife and a doula and they like already know each other, they know how to work together cohesively, and it's not like a bunch of strangers meeting for the first time, like, woohoo, you're gonna see my hoo-ha, and all of you guys just all met, and it's just kind of like a weird thing. So knowing if they're familiar and how many live births they've attended might be more of a informative question for you in your choosing that doula versus what kind of formal training or certifications that they have. Not to say that training and certifications are less important, it's just an alternate to the question. Okay, so number 3, what is your fee and what does your fee cover? And so this is really important. I think the average cost of doulas range anywhere between like $300 and $500 to like upwards of $1,000. And these fees include different types of things. You'd want to know, like, how many visits do I get with you, or how much phone time or email communication do I get with you, or do I get any time with you after the baby's born, post-birth doula services, or is it all pre-birth and labor, that type of thing. And then also to offset that is, what other services do you offer? So a lot of times, like I said earlier, doulas also have like, they could be like specialized in lactation, or they can do placenta encapsulation, and that is a major thing that the doula who I was going to interview yesterday, she does offer placenta encapsulation, and that is a service that I'm definitely planning on adding on to my package. And if you guys are interested in learning more about placenta encapsulation or why I'm choosing to do that, like, just drop a comment down below and I'll make sure to include that in my next pregnancy update or a future upcoming video if you guys have questions about like the benefits of that and why I decided to eat my placenta this time. Placentas are probably yummy. I don't know. I probably would like add it to a smoothie or something. I'm not exactly sure which route I want to take, if I just want it dried out and powdered or if I want it in a pill form just yet. I want to know the different techniques that you can use to ingest your placenta, and then I guess I'll just choose from there. But nonetheless, yeah, that's another question that you would want to ask. So number 2, do you have anyone else due near the time that I'm due? This is a really important question because with birth, you never quite know when you're going to go into labor. I mean, obviously your doctors give you a estimated due date, or EDD, whatever that may be. And I was specifically planning for this baby, so I know exactly when I ovulated, I know exactly when we conceived. So if this were a typical 40-week gestation pregnancy, I know that I would be due on August 15th. But if for some reason you didn't and you weren't entirely sure, and even if you were entirely sure, you can never really know when a baby is going to make its arrival. It could come 2 weeks before, it could come 2 weeks later, it could come, you know, you just never know. Birth's one of those things. And so you definitely want to ask your doula, like, how many other expectant mothers do you have that are due within like 4 weeks either way, before or after, from the time that I'm expected to give birth. And I think that is something very important that you want to know. And to piggyback off of that is, do you have a backup arrangement in case you're not free when I go into labor? And this is just based on, like, you know, what if your doula is like out of town or something on the day that you happen to go into labor? I definitely want to know if you have any prior engagements, vacations, trips out of town planned, like for the whole 2 weeks before I'm due and then 2 weeks after I'm due, or anywhere in between that. I think that's a safe time frame for me, just because both my other pregnancies came right around or right on their due date. And so I think that that's really important that you know, like, okay, are you available? Do you have any other moms like that are due around the same time that I'm due? How many clients do you typically take on with the same like due date month? And that will kind of like ease your mind or make you decide, like, hey, if this person has like 3 other moms already due the month that I'm due, I don't really know if we're gonna be a good fit or not. Number 1, the last question that I have is, how do you describe your doula style? What techniques do you offer as far as pain management if you're deciding to go natural, or what type of techniques do you offer if you decide to go medicated or if you end up having to have a C-section, that type of thing? And also, how do you include my partner in the birthing experience? I think a lot of times when people think of doulas or like birth support, they think of it like excluding your partner from the birthing experience. And I feel like I definitely want to have a doula this time around to include my husband even more this time around. When we had our daughter in the hospital, there was so much medical staff in the room. I felt like he was constantly being like pushed out of the way, and I really didn't have any kind of techniques in my mind on how to like help me with like pain relief or how to like de-stress and kind of come back down to level and really be in tune with my body. So I like pushed him away a lot, and I was really overwhelmed and I had a lot of anxiety, and I just felt like I felt in that moment that we really hadn't communicated, or I hadn't communicated with him on how I wanted him to be present to help me. And so I think that with a doula around to be able to explain to me like different massage techniques or, you know, meditative techniques that she uses for pain release, like this would not only help me, but it would help my partner, because then he would feel like he's more involved in the whole birthing experience, and he would be able to be up front and center with me the entire time. And I just feel like it would be such like an empowering experience, and it would be something that we really get to experience together this time, and it won't feel like so overwhelming or so ridden with anxiety that I'm just like, get off me, don't touch me, don't talk to me, nobody look at me. So I'm really hoping that this time around, with mental preparation, with doula preparation, birthing technique prep, and having like these open conversations with my partner, it will be really inclusive and a positive experience. I feel like having my husband there, like he's definitely my right hand birth support, but then having a doula there is going to be like my left hand birth support, and I need both of them in order to ensure that this is like an uplifting, a positive, a supportive, empowering birth experience for me. Essentially, I'm really hoping that this time around this birth experience is really positive, that after I give birth I have a really strong connection with breastfeeding, and I feel just really comfortable and supported, and like my needs and my wants were listened to. And I just feel like going this route, I'm going to have all of the support that I need to feel super successful with bringing another baby into this world. So those are my 5 tips, or my top 5 questions that I have to ask a doula. Lastly, I know these aren't like necessarily questions, but after you've asked your doula your questions, whatever you decide to ask, add onto this list, or if you just ask these specific questions, I think there are 2 important questions that you want to ask yourself, which is, do you feel like they listened to you? Do you feel like they really understood like your concerns, or that they answered your questions in a way that you liked, or you feel like they kind of like avoided certain questions or didn't know how to ask or felt uneasy in their responses to you? Like, I think that that's something really important you want to ask yourself beforehand. And then also the second question that I think you should ask yourself is whether or not you vibed with that person. I think that with including someone in such an intimate part of your life, giving birth is so intimate and so special, and like a lifetime changing type of event. I think that by vibing with the person that you're going to have in your birthing team is just going to relax you that much more when you're actually in the birthing process, and you're just going to feel at ease with having that person around. The last thing you want is somebody that you feel like you kind of feel awkward around, or that you don't necessarily feel like safe or comforted by, to be in the room with you when you're experiencing such intense like pain or emotion. And so I think that just asking yourself, like, above all the certifications and trainings, and if their fee is great, if you didn't vibe with that person, or if you didn't feel like they answered your questions to your liking, or you didn't feel like they felt confident in their services, I think that those are things that you really need to ask yourself and consider before you hire a doula. So thanks so much. That is all that I have today for this video, guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this update, and I hope that if y'all are interested in hiring a doula, that these questions really helped you during your interview process. Don't feel like you have to go with the first doula you interview. If you have multiple options, I definitely recommend interviewing more than one person. And thanks so much for stopping by this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're new here, I hope that you guys would consider hitting the subscribe button. I hope that y'all have a great rest of your day, evening, and week. Bye.